Cool, cool. Cool. So now we're into here. And this is working? Might be. Yeah. It looks like it might be working. No, it turns off. Okay, so click to pass it. So I found this old game. And it's, I don't know if you can see it, but it's masterpieces of contemporary painting, art tours, interactive guides of the world's finest art museums. So, famous museums of Europe. Probably, I don't know if we're gonna get, the Louvre. Does it say which ones they have here? Now, I don't know about the music, actually. The music might be copywritten. I don't know. So here you go, themes. So that's why I'm gonna kill the music. No, can I turn off the music? Like, completely off? No. I don't think I can. Although I can kill it over there, so if necessary need be. That's the music though, so maybe put very little, like barely anything. No more. There we go. So here. So we'll do it by, I guess, like in order, right? So this is the Alt Pinakothek.
The Alte Pinakothek in Munich is one of the most important museums in Germany and occupies a prominent position among the great museums of the world.
Ooh, this is like.
The building has 2 stories and houses a series of works of the highest quality, such as the collection of Dürer's paintings, unparalleled in the art world, along with paintings by other great German artists. The collection was compiled by the House of Wittelsbach, first dukes and then kings of Bavaria, and included works by foreign painters, whence the museum's collection of works of inestimable value, such as the large collection of paintings by Rubens, and canvases by the most illustrious of Italian, Spanish, French, and Flemish masters. The museum's layout emphasizes the quality of the artwork found there. Thus, visitors can follow a route that allows them to admire a select group of the most representative works in the collection.
Yeah. Okay, cool. This is loud. Yeah, the building, the works, the masterpiece. Okay, I guess we can do it in order. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 5 hours. Well. Yeah, so let's see. Let's read a little bit about it. Oh, it's a lot of reading? Okay. That's not the worst, I guess. But let's see. It's very small, I can tell you that much. Holy wow, it's actually very small. Can I make this bigger? I can. For you guys, I can make it bigger, okay. For the viewers. More. Oh, my head's in the way for that part over there, but that's okay. I'll do this. Cool. Now let's try and read it. Oh, let me try and read it. Oh, I need to have the microphone. Designed between 1826 and 1829. neoclassical style by Leo van Clens to the house of the 18,000 painting collection, to house the 18,000 painting collection of the House of Wittelsbach, rulers of Bavaria. The museum fits harmoniously into the city's urban landscape with its Hellenic architectural style. The Alt Pinakothek contains one of the most significant groups of paintings by Rubens, as well as the world's most important collection of works by 15th century German painters. The collection was the collection was started by William IV, 1528 to 1540, who invited a group of artists to his court. Following their patron's humanistic ideals, the artists painted works of glorious deeds seen in Aldorf's Battle of Issues, along with examples of feminine and masculine virtues. Maximilian the First, 1597 to 1651, enriched the collection with numerous works by Dor, whom he greatly admired. In 1689, Prince Elector Maximilian Emmanuel accepted a group of 105 painters, including the double portrait in a honeysuckle bower portrait of Helena Fumant and Drunken Silenus. Is it drunken? It does. Drunken Silenus by Rubens as part of her dowry. And Maria Ludwica, the daughter of Cosimo III of Tuscany, added Raphael's Cornigiano Madonna to her husband John William's 1754 to 1777 collection. Maximilian IV, Joseph I, King of Bavaria, 1799-1825. Had the collections he inherited moved from Dusseldorf and Mannheim to Munich, creating a single gallery. Thanks to the expropriation of the property of ecclesiastic orders, the museum acquired such masterpieces as Holbein's Caucsium altar, Michael's Pacher, father of the Church of Tipolos, Adoration of the Magi. Several important collections were added to those belonging to the ruler of Bavaria, such as that of Ottingen Wellerston, which contained paintings by Dier and his contemporaries, including Altorfer's View of the Danube. Is that what it is? Yeah, okay. And Raphael's Tempi Madonna. In the 19th century, the policy of accusation was interpreted and only resumed at the end of the century. After World War II expenditures was essentially limited to repairing the badly damaged museum. It is only in recent times that special state funding has been used to make purchases again. Okay, cool. Now what do I do? Like, how do I go back? Like, what do I do now? Oh, I can see things. I can go like look at stuff. I can go look at like rooms and stuff. It's pretty cool to like go through museums. I love museums. I said that's one of my favorite things on the planet. Museums. I don't know. It's something about them. And it doesn't have to be like an interactive museum, like, you know, a science center or a kids, you know, or something to like do something with. No, I could go to, like, one of my favorite places in Montreal. Here is the art museum. I've seen the entire building, like the entire thing, like just so much fun. I brought my friend who had never been, and he's like, very nice, very nice. I mean, he's not a like huge museum guy, but he's definitely like, yeah, that was very nice. Oh, I can look it in through and see. Is that Jesus and Mary?
The
Right.
Madonna is holding a small
Madonna.
red carnation, toward which the child, seated on a cushion on her lap, stretches out his hands. The golden lining of the Madonna's cloak is folded in front, creating an elaborate ruffle. Alongside her, a glass vase with a long, narrow neck holds a bunch of flowers.
Oh, they're
In
explaining
the
it. Okay.
background, two mullioned windows with two
Mullioned.
lights are visible, through which we glimpse a landscape with rocks and trees, represented from an aerial perspective that fades into bluish tones near the horizon. The windows provide another light source in addition to the light that enters from the front, so that there's a gradual, delicately shaded transition from the planes, which hold the main figure, to the background. The picture, which was painted early in the artist's career, around 1473, has a pyramidal structure that is typical of Leonardo's work.
That's Leonardo.
Solid and sculptural
Leonardo da Vinci,
forms
okay,
and
Madonna and
figures,
child,
which were derived
as the
from
Madonna with
Verrocchio, are accompanied by the
carnation.
use of luministic effects that have a Flemish origin. The painting was acquired by the museum in 1899.
Can I have my thank you?
The Madonna is holding a small red carnation, toward which the child, seated on a
Can I, like,
cushion on
stop?
her lap,
No, I
stretches out his hands. The golden line
Oh, I should have clicked the back button, I guess. And then what's that painting right there?
The three figures that make up the painting are arranged along its main diagonal in a progression that leads from the attentive pose of Saint Joseph to the quiet immobility of the Madonna, and ends in the child sleeping with his head on her breast. The intimacy of the relationship between mother and son is emphasized by their matching flesh tones, which are enhanced by the contrast with the red and blue of the Madonna's clothing. The background is filled by a cluster of shady trees that forms a canopy over the figures, while on the right we see a patch of sky suffused with an amber light. The work is indicative of the influence that Venetian painting exercised on the artist, especially in the features of the Madonna and Saint Joseph.
Ooh, oh yeah, so it
Picture,
is.
which
Madonna,
was
meaning,
painted between 1627 and 1632
meaning
during Van
Mary?
Dyck's second stay in Antwerp, was probably intended for the presbytery of the Church of St. Michael. It was acquired by Prince Maximilian Emmanuel.
Prince Maximilian Emmanuel. Cool, where's the back one? Back one, there you go. Let's see what else we got. Oh, let's see.
Christ, solemnly seated with the crown of thorns on his head, is surrounded by a crowd of tormentors.
Nice
The
Christ.
sticks there waving above his head are arranged like a sunburst. The figure viewed from the back, who is urging the others to join the action, is holding an axe in his left hand, while the shiny pommel of a sword is visible at his side. Above the scene hangs a large chandelier lit with white tongues of flame, which emit a reddish-white light.
Probably only going to go
The
for half hour,
architecture in
so.
the background is only vaguely visible, and its grayness contrasts with the bright colors of the figure's clothing and the white of Christ's mantle. The composition's scheme, which is structured along oblique and opposing axes, shows the influence that Central Italian mannerism had on Titian. Yet the forms dissolve in the light, and the painting relies entirely on color, applied with small strokes of the brush. The work, which is an excellent example of Titian's late style, was sold to Tintoretto after the artist's death, and was later acquired by the Prince Elector of Bavaria.
What's this index mean? Oh. Can I go back? Thank you. I'm back again. Cool. Is that what I was looking at? Christ. What's it called? Crowning with Thorns. This one's called Holy Family with Saint Elizabeth and John the Baptist, known as the... Let's see.
The theme of the Holy Family is amplified to include the figures of Saint Elizabeth and the infant Saint John.
St. John I knew was
The
Saint, but
composition is constructed in a
Elizabeth?
pyramidal
Okay.
pattern that shows the influence of Leonardo. At the bottom of the painting, the Madonna is seated on the grass and, while keeping her place in a small book, gazes lovingly at the child. The latter is reaching out towards the infant St. John, who is in the arms of the kneeling St. Elizabeth. She is looking at St. Joseph, who is leaning with both hands on a staff. The protagonists' locked gazes bestow unity on the composition. The scene's natural setting broadens in the background to show a village on the hills and bluish mountains that fade into the horizon. The little angels at the top, which were painted over in the 19th century, were rediscovered when the picture was restored in 1983. The artist's signature is visible on the neckline of Mary's dress. The work was executed in Florence between 1507 and 1508 for Domenico Canigiani. In 1691, it was sent by Cosimo III of Tuscany to his son-in-law, Prince John William of the Palatinate.
John William. Yeah, I was just telling my friend when we were at the museum, because we saw a bunch of this kind of Renaissance stuff. Renaissance, religious stuff. And I'm like, look, Jesus is always portrayed, and anybody connected to that is always portrayed as the whitest person you've ever seen. Like, the definition of white. And he was not white. He just wasn't white.
St. Peter is on the right,
He just
holding
wasn't.
a large key, and St. Jerome and St. Paul are on the left,
Saint
the
Jerome.
latter grasping a sword. They are watching the drama unfolding in front of them, in the middle of the scene, with an air of calm participation.
Look, they're all
The
white.
Virgin, who has swooned in the arms of
And
St.
it's not
John
even
the
like
Evangelist,
they're a white
holds
guy.
the
No,
lifeless
they're like
body of
the
Christ on her lap,
definition
which
of
is
white.
bent in an arc, with the head thrown back and the left arm hanging down. At the sides, the kneeling Mary Magdalene supports Jesus' feet, while Mary of Bethany brings Christ's head close to her face with both hands. Martha, alongside the Virgin, holds the nails in her left hand. In the background, large stones frame the dark opening of the cave that reveals the sepulchre and seem to loom over the figures in front. The painter portrays these figures in eloquent poses and poignantly contrasts the colors of their clothing. The expressions on their faces, such as the Magdalene's grief-contorted visage, and the forceful lines of their veils and cloaks accentuate the dramatic nature of the scene. The picture was painted from 1490 to 1492. The work, which was originally set on an altar in the church of San Paolino, was bought in Florence and restored in 1814 for Prince
Sandro.
Louis of Bavaria.
Sandro who? Dang it. I wanted to know who it was. Sandro who? Sandro Botticelli. So yeah. Like, I think it's a little bit of influence of them. They're white, so they think, oh, Jesus would be white. Like, which is not true at all, but, like, doesn't make sense to me, because, like, no, he wasn't from, Eastern Europe. He was from, Western Europe. He wasn't from the white parts of Europe. He was from Middle East, which would have looked a little brown. I mean, he wouldn't have been a black guy, but he would be brown. Oh, I can zoom in and zoom out. Oh, interesting. Nope, back a little bit, back. Yep, yeah, there. Good for me. What's over here? Anything? I don't have to look at everything. Is that supposed to be Jesus?
The artist has portrayed himself in a
Oh, himself.
rigidly frontal position against a dark background, in a hieratic pose that is typical of
Durre.
representations of Christ. His right hand is raised to clasp the fur collar of his jacket, and mimics the position of Christ's hand when he is giving his blessing in pictures of the Salvator Mundi. Dürer's intention to imitate the Redeemer is evident in the idealization of his features, such as his eyes and nose, in order to resemble those traditionally attributed to Christ. His long hair is also parted in the middle.
Yeah, but like,
The composition's originality can be ascribed in part to the historical period in which it was painted, when imitating Christ was done in a strictly orthodox manner, and in part to the mystical conception that Dürer had of artistic creativity, which he saw as a direct derivation of divine creation. The picture bears an inscription in Latin on the right, recording the author of the work and the date, 1500, on the left, set above the painter's monogram. It was acquired by Louis I in Nuremberg in 1805.
okay. So he's supposed to be like Jesus, looking like Jesus, but he's an artist of it. We won't get through any of these if we don't start working our way through. Oh, you can do it this way, okay. Yeah, a lot of religious stuff, which is not bad. That can be a good religious work when it looks good and it represents the scene and it's all good, but like, again, Jesus is the whitest man you've ever. It's like, no, that's not. Anyway, let's go to index, and not even index. Let's go to even back again. Like back again, because we're trying to go to a different museum now. Okay, let's look at a work. Let's grab like a random work. Like, what's this one? I can zoom. Can I move? Or is that going to make me a different... Next. Oh, okay. Ugh. Yeah, sometimes there was nudity in these things. It's weird. I don't understand it, like... But okay. I have to go back and find it now. Do I know? Is he around at all? That picture around at all? Looks like a picture of... I don't know. I don't think so. No, okay. Guess not. Oh, Maine. There you go. Now, what's this museum? The Hermitage.
With its 75,000 square meters of exposition space, the Hermitage Museum is the largest museum in the world.
Wow.
The museum contains 2,700,000 works, including 15,000 pictures, 12,000 sculptures, 600,000 drawings and prints, and the same number of archaeological artifacts,
Wow.
1 million coins and medals, and 220,000 objects of applied art. The Hermitage Museum is made up of 400 rooms, in which the collections are divided up into 8 sections. A tour of the whole complex is 24 kilometers long.
Okay. 24 kilometers long. The building. The masterpiece. The work. Did I do the building right? No, I didn't. Just reading about stuff. Oh gosh. No. I'm sorry, but like, whoa. Ooh, wow, that's real old looking. What else is, like, what's there I can look at that's not too, I don't want to say erotic, but like, you know, is this more of the Leonardo da Vinci with child? Wait, Leonardo da Vinci, okay, so it's Madonna and child, okay. Again, another Madonna and child, okay. The king drinks?
The crowded scene represents the Feast of the Epiphany, or Twelfth Night, just as it is still celebrated in some countries of Western Europe today. During the banquet, whoever finds the slice of cake that has a bean baked into it is crowned king of the festival.
At the festival,
He is
okay,
then
I've heard
entitled
of this,
to choose a queen from among the other guests and to appoint all the members of his court. In the painting, the king, a portly and ruddy figure, is raising an elaborate glass goblet to toast his florid but rather dowdy queen, who holds a mischievous little imp on her lap.
Imp?
Behind her,
Okay.
a man is playing the bagpipes.
Ooh.
On the left-hand side of the picture, an old man wearing a jester's cap is casually slipping his hand down a woman's dress. The scene
Ooh.
is completed by
Oh, I
other
see.
figures clutching gleaming pewter jugs and a number of children with animated rosy faces. A parrot in a cage and a dog with its ears pricked up at all the hubbub watch the goings-on in silent astonishment. The artist uses this subject, which was derived from Caravaggio's genre scenes, to depict Flemish burghers dining, and above all, their unruly and exuberant behavior after a lavish feast. The painting entered the Hermitage in 1922.
Okay. I should go here and turn off the music. That's the one music. Oh, there, volume, right there. Ah, that's nothing. Just doesn't kill anything. Turns off nothing. Okay, well. We'll go back. King's Drink. That one says what? The Pipe Smoker. Paul who? Because that was by Jacob Jordanes? Jordanes? And this is by Paul Chesney? Chesney? Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct. Oh, Rembrandt, okay. I don't know if you Rembrandt. Danae. And this is Napoleon on the bridge at Arcole? Why not look at it?
The future Emperor of France is represented brandishing a heavy sword and holding a flag that billows in the wind and is tangled with his shiny ochre locks. The hero's figure, which we know is actually short and stocky, is made to look bigger by the dark uniform that's adorned with gold braid and buttons and with an enormous ribbon tied on one side. The tumultuous background, where the only thing that can be
Napoleon.
made out is a small building wreathed in coils of smoke, alludes to the Battle of Arcole, a small
Battle of
town near
Arcole.
Verona, where the Austrian
Italy.
army was
Oh, no,
defeated
Austria.
by French troops between November 15th and 17th,
Mm.
1796. In this heroic portrait, Gros, who was the prized pupil of Jacques-Louis David, reveals the full extent of his fascination with Napoleon's personality and makes use of stylistic accents that can already be described as romantic. The painting was acquired by the Hermitage in 1924.
Okay, cool. It's pretty cool stuff, I guess. I don't know. Is she new?
In the Old Testament is the story of Judith, a Jewish
Judith?
woman
Okay.
from the city of Betulia, who freed her people from the threat of invasion by the Assyrians by seducing their general Holofernes and then killing him.
Yeah.
Giorgione portrays the biblical heroine as a beautiful and modest woman, armed with nothing but her faith in God. She has an innocent expression and lowered gaze, as if embarrassed by the presence of the great sword and severed head of Holofernes, on which her foot lightly rests. The landscape that blends into the horizon, a hazy green stretch of countryside that is enlivened by the bluish outline of a small town,
Okay.
is an example of the technique described by Vasari as painting directly with colors, without sketches on paper, which
Oh,
Giorgione supposedly created.
Okay.
The artist's meticulous depiction of the plants in the foreground and the sfumato used for the head of Holofernes show that
Spumato?
the artist
I don't know
was
what that means.
familiar with the work of Leonardo, whom he may even have met. The painting, which was acquired by Catherine II in 1779, was for a long time considered by art historians to be the work of Raphael, due to its formal and spiritual harmony and the calmness that it evokes.
Oh, so do they not know who it's by? Because if you look at it, nope, it's by Louis David. It's by Jacques Louis David. Okay. Not much else here to see. Oh, what's that one? That looks like one of those
With
like.
an extreme simplicity of
Oh.
line and a vibrant coloring, that can accurately be described as fauvist.
What
The
is, see,
canvas
you get
represents
a bunch of these
5
weird
frenzied
things
figures
in art.
dancing in a ring. Their bright pink bodies
Well, because they're
seem
like-
to fly over the surface of the grass, which is
Sorry.
painted in a crude shade of green. All
go.
superfluous detail has been eliminated to focus on the fluid ornamental formation that conveys the rhythm of the dance, the true subject of the picture. The complex pattern formed by the arms of the dancers is very beautiful, creating the impressions of a whirling garland. Sergei Shkukin commissioned Matisse to paint the work in 1910 to decorate his house in Moscow. The work
Moscow.
provoked considerable criticism and perplexity when it was shown at the
Well,
Salon
yeah,
in
it's weird.
1910.
Unique
It has been in the
experience.
Hermitage since 1948.
See, you get this kind of stuff because it's like because art is one of the only ones where you can kind of do whatever you want, and there'd be some guy somewhere who'd be like, oh, paint, like, you know, you show it off enough, and there'd be someone who goes, I love it. It's amazing. It's great. It's fantastic. It's cool. It's whatever, right? Whereas with like everything else, you have to actually, I don't know. I guess it's just a creative field, so yeah. I don't know. I just find it interesting. So yeah. Oh, they even got a mirror. Huh? What's that? Madonna and Child. Okay. There's only a few maybe. Okay, so don't look at it all. That's Napoleon. What's that? Rembrandt. Yeah, it's okay. We gotta go back to exit. Is it exit? No. No. So I have to go like Maine maybe. Aha. Let's go to the Uffizi Gallery.
In 1560, the Grand Duke of Tuscany, Cosimo I de' Medici, decided to construct the new building of the Uffizi, or offices, for the magistracies of the Florentine government. In 1581, when the building was complete, Grand Duke Francis I de' Medici decided to house the family's art collections in the upper gallery. In 1591, the Uffizi Gallery was open to visits by request, making it the first museum in the world.
Huh.
Over the course of time, its
First museum
collections
in the
have
world.
been enriched with new works of art and archaeological finds. In the mid-20th century, the museum's rooms were organized on a chronological basis. This allowed paintings of the same period, but from different geographical regions, to be
Okay.
shown alongside one another, and fully convey the artistic spirit of a particular historical period.
Okay, so it's not necessarily like of the same kind of work, like Renaissance and this and that, because it could be 100 years in difference. I guess that's what it is. Like I've seen that painting before. Not in real life, but I've seen pictures of it. It's called Portrait of Federico di Montefeltro.
The portrait of Federico,
Yeah.
together with that of his wife Battista, formed a
I've seen
diptych,
this side.
which was probably capable of folding like a book along a central hinge. The Duke is represented
this
in
one.
profile, a device that not only made it possible to conceal the right side of his face, which was disfigured during a tournament,
Ooh.
but also ennobled and idealized his features, making them resemble those of the rulers portrayed on ancient medals. Yet a comparison with other pictures of Federico reveals the extent to which the artist sought to produce a true likeness, even lingering over the description of such less attractive details, such as his hooked nose, wrinkles, warts, and thick neck. The head and shoulders portrait, with its geometrical forms, stands out forcefully against a broad panorama, a landscape viewed from above, which is a metaphor for Federico's actual domains.
Actual domains. Federico, too. No, not you. I don't know if you can get the wife involved. Previous. Nope. More religious stuff. Okay. Not saying religious stuff isn't good, but like, I don't know. It's a little much for me. What's that? Leonardo da Vinci. No. somewhere else, right? Can't go to a different section of the museum. That's weird. At least not through the works. Through here, maybe through the works. And Medusa. Yeah, it is. Medusa. Oh, but it won't let me read it. By Caravaggio. Okay. What's that one? Oh, okay. That one. Okay. That one. That one. That one. Ooh, is that just the actual place? The Dog's Palace at St. Mark's Square. No, the Doge Palace. The dog? Dodge Palace? Doge. It's not dog. Dodge Palace, right? Doge is Dodge, right? Anyway. Let's go look at the Musée d'Orsay.
The Orsay railway station, Gare d'Orsay, was designed exclusively for use by passenger trains and was particularly comfortable and luxurious in appearance.
Okay.
The complex originally also comprised a large and refined hotel. Constructed in less than 2 years, the building was inaugurated on July 14th, 1900, on the occasion of the Universal Exhibition.
Oh, so like
Following the
a World
definitive
Fair.
closure of the railroad line, Lalu's imposing architecture changed its function several times and even risked demolition. In 1973, when the government led by Georges Pompidou approved the project for a museum that would exhibit a complete collection of 19th century art, the Gare d'Orsay was chosen as the obvious location for this ambitious plan. Thanks to the work of restructuring and interior design carried out by Guy Aulenti in 1980, the Musée d'Orsay was inaugurated in 1986. The collection of Impressionist paintings lies at the heart of the museum.
Impressionist stuff like, what's his name? Monet. I saw some Monet. Well, they do this thing here in Montreal where they'll bring, or I don't know if it goes around. It might go around. But it's a bunch of, but it's like something. So it's like someone's work, or it's about something. But it's not actual paintings of anything. So they don't go traveling with the paintings, or with the artworks, or with the sculptures. No. They do this weird projections of things onto the walls. It's like, I think I paid like $25 or $30 somewhere around there. It was like 2.5 years ago, so I don't exactly remember, but it was somewhere around there. And I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, it was a cool experience to be in it and whatever, but like, I didn't see any real art, so I was like, I mean real art, like the actual paintings were there. So I'm like, oh, I could have just like Googled some paintings of Monet. My mother liked it. My mother very much liked it, but I was just kind of like, cool. Yeah. I guess it's one of those things you see once and you're kind of like, cool. I'm good. Forever. Not forever, but like, yeah, I guess so. Like
this painting was not actually painted in Arles, but during the period the artist spent as an inmate of the asylum at Saint-Rémy. The painter takes us straight into his room in Arles, showing us a setting of great simplicity, but one whose details have remained firmly fixed in his mind. We see the wooden floor, worn and peeling off in places. Dishes and bath items are neatly arranged on the little table, presenting us with an unusual still life. Various pictures hang on the walls, along with a large towel and a mirror that glints in the light, but does not reflect any part of the room. Van Gogh's blue jackets and a straw hat hang from the clothes pegs behind the wooden bed. The space of the composition is subordinate to the expressive power of the color in an unbound, undulating perspective. The objects appear to float in the air without touching the ground, creating an unreal effect.
Yeah, I was going to say before, art's one of those things too where it's like, who chooses, not chooses, but like, why are some things seen as like high art and like, oh look at this is like a masterpiece of this and that, and it stays and people want it in museums, and then other things just never. I guess it's like every piece of something. If you become a thing, if you make yourself known, If you're good at what you do, if you make yourself known, if you... What's that one? Dance at the Moulin de la Galoute.
Painted from life at one of the cafes on the hill of Montmartre, the dance at the Moulin de la Galette shocked critics because of
Why?
its dissolution of forms and vibrancy of colors. In fact, the true force of this painting by Renoir is the social occasion presented by the dance. The composition is very crowded, and the artist's interest centers on an attempt to convey a sense of dynamism,
Yeah.
as well as to depict figures in the open air. The foreground is taken up by a scene of discreet flirtation between the group of young men seated at a table and two girls leaning nonchalantly on a bench. The painter follows the action with amused and indulgent interest, but his attention is also caught by the effect of the sunlight filtering through the branches of the trees and creating flitting patterns on the figure's clothing. The clothes worn by the dancing couples are rendered with long and summery brushstrokes that help to create an impression of movement. The ground on which the figures are dancing looks like the purple clouds that darken the sky on a stormy day. This comment, made at the time and intended as a criticism of the picture, is actually an apt observation that brings out its intrinsic poetry.
I don't know, just... Because unlike a lot of other ones where it's just kind of like, oh no, you'll make it big. Not big, okay, no, not big, but you'll just... The other ones where it's very much cut and paste, like, oh, I'm just going to do this. You know how to do it? Just do it. You know? It's other jobs. I mean, you can be bad at that job, sure, but... You can be bad at the job, but for the most part, some of it's just like, yeah, well, you can just do it, right? Or the opposite, where it's like, you don't really need to know how to doing some of it. Because then you get like the Picassos of the world and like the abstract guys who just 100% just do random whatever. Birth of Venus, sorry. Yeah, that's a little whack. No thanks. Oh no, is it frozen? I don't want to be frozen on this picture. That would be the weirdest thing to be frozen on. Can you like load please and let me get out? No, I guess not. Okay, well I'm gonna not be frozen on that. That's a weird one to be frozen on, so we're gonna kill this scene, please. Sorry, wrong one. Yeah. We're gonna be okay, there you go. I don't know what happened there. It's frozen now. I think it's still running. I don't even know if it's around at all. Oh no. Cannot wait for it to oh, I can't even do that. Wow. Can't even hit wait. Okay. Okay, I guess not. Can I wait or can I kill it? I can't even kill it. I can't even kill it. Oh man. Well, I think it's gonna be it for now, guys. Then, so. Well, I can go for a little bit longer, but yeah. So art's just that weird one because then you get that where it's like. I guess it's one of those things where. It was one of the professions. One of the things if you're an artist like that has the most broad like. You can be really good at like making something look exactly as it is, like just. Like look for look, like that's what it looked like, that's what it is. And you look at the two and you're like, wow, that's very good. To just I can make a bunch of blobs on a page. Like my friend was making the observation of like we saw two cut lines in a canvas and he was like, what? Huh? What? He did that whole like, what? Huh? He wasn't even seeing some of the other stuff, which was just like, you know, blobs on things and like a line down the thing or like, whatever. I don't know. Art's just that weird thing too. I have to say, art's that weird thing. I'm not saying it's that bad. I'm just saying. it is one of those things. My friend made the joke. He's like, if I ever need money, you know, I ever want to make lots of money, I'll just sneeze on a canvas. Call it art. Or take some paint and just like throw it on a canvas. But that's art. Because someone somewhere is going to be like, oh, you know, someone somewhere is going to be like, yeah, I love it. Like, it's great. I'm like, okay, sure. Because, I mean, it's fine, I guess. I don't know. I guess, yeah, it's fine. Like, again, art is the whole, like, well, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like, you know, some people love random, not junk, per se. I wouldn't say, like, but someone, they'll be like, I don't really care. It's just whatever. And somebody else would be like, no, that's amazing. I love it. I think it's, like, speaks to me. You know, that whole speaks to me. I'm like, okay, sure. It's just a whatever. Although I have seen some art that I'm like, very, like, not moved, but like I like think about it and I'm like, oh, interesting. Kind of like a, why is it like this? What is it doing? What was he thinking? What you know? Anyway. So yeah. And I can't even kill it. Okay. Can I kill it if I go and open up? Where's that? If I open up this, maybe. I'm trying to. The program froze, so now I'm trying to just kill the program. See if I can do it. Where is it? It would be called famous. So what? No. Wow. I can't even kill it through. What's this thing called? This thing is called the Mission Center, which is kind of like the it's kind of like Task Manager. We'll try the other thing, which is called System Monitor. Let's see if that lets me do it. So let's go to F. Really? Okay. Well, is it wine then, maybe? Is it running in wine? Let's see if a wine exe can be killed. Kill. Kill, maybe? Kill, maybe? No, it wasn't that. Okay. Well, then how do I get rid of it? I gotta turn off the computer. Maybe I do. 'Cause I can't. Doesn't want to even let me. Because it's giving me the little thing where it says, is not responding. You may choose to wait or wait for it to continue, or force the app to quit entirely. And it won't let me do either of those because it's so frozen. Okay, no, that's not done. No one's here, but yeah, so that's art. I like art. I've seen all the art in the museum except for one part. Well, I saw it a long time ago, but it's like chairs and it's like chairs and appliances. Again, and then that's another thing. When they'll just grab something, it's like the banana taped to the wall. We were just like, that's art. Not that, see, and that's the other thing about art. It's like, it's not necessarily anything that's crazy hard to make, you know? Not like, it's just that somebody had to think about it. Somebody had to think about it, right? Somebody had to, you know? Somebody had to think of like, oh, I'll do that. You know? I don't know. I don't understand, but okay. Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think it's going to be it for now, guys. So, adios.